saying that these trucks on the highway to us as regular passenger drivers are faceless. And after the accident, I found myself trying to look at the faces in the trucks, and you never can. And they just seem like this mysterious creatures inside of these trucks. And so meeting Carol was like, oh, okay, these are real people that don't want to hurt anybody. But one question I asked Carol on the ride along was, do you feel pressure from your higher ups to keep driving even when you're tired? And I was happy to hear. She said, no way. She said, my managers would never push me. If I'm tired, I stop. And I love that, but I wish that was across the board. The driver that killed my family was working for a small company, and he'd been driving, and he survived a broken tooth, and there was a trial a year and a half later, and gasoline, they couldn't find his logbook, and which is, again, if all trucks had ELDs or EOBRs, we wouldn't have that problem of no logbooks. But he had been driving in excess of 30 some odd, I think 35, 38 hours without rest.
Oh, wow.
And it just fell asleep. And not only was my family killed, he killed 5 others and seriously injured 2. So 10 people died that day because a guy felt pressured to drive beyond the hours of service. And I think that still exists today, sadly, in some segments of the trucking industry. And that's what I wish would change.
Right.
But I was so happy that Carol said to me, I don't feel pressured, and safety is more important to me than driving 10, 11 hours. And she pulls over, and the bed that she had looks very comfortable, actually.
Well, that's true. You can make all the regulations you want. If people don't follow them, it doesn't help.
Exactly.
So, Ron, when you first of all, where did you guys go? Where did you run from where to where?
We started in Woodbridge and drove down south of Fredericksburg and back. And she showed me all the bells and whistles of the safety features and answered all my questions. And
Virginia? Is this Virginia you're talking about?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, yeah. Virginia. Okay. Yes. I live in D.C.
Right. And I'm wondering, when you first stepped foot into the truck, what were your thoughts, your immediate thoughts when you first entered this strange new world?
Well, I'm a former Navy submarine officer, so I've been in various types of vehicles with all kinds of new technology. There was a little bit of emotion that I was in this. I was finally, after all these years of living, in this vehicle that, like you said before, I thought of as a vehicle for death. But it was clean. It was high tech. Carol went through the pre-checks. I didn't know that this particular company is required to do all these pre-checks before you go on a trip. I don't know if all companies do that, but yeah, when I first stepped in, it was a little bit emotional. But because Ellen and Carol were so caring and so professional, it made it a lot easier.
Yeah, you couldn't have been in better hands, that's for sure.
No way.
Ron, this is Marge. Could you give everybody the address for the YouTube video? Because that's a wonderful video you did.
Yeah, there is a video online of your ride-along.
I don't know what it is right now.
You want me to look it up, Meredith?
We'll find it and put it up on our Facebook page, and so everybody can actually see what you guys did.
Thank you, Marge, for acknowledging that.
You're welcome. I enjoy it very much.
We posted it, and it disappeared somehow. So maybe it will reappear. Hopefully.
I had one version, and I did some editing to add some of my nephew's pictures, and so there's a new version on there now.
I'm glad you made it, because it's really moving to see your nephews and your sister and your mom, and to understand what this is all about, what the genesis of this was.
Thank you.
And Carol, so you wanted to show Ron that that driving is safe, and to again humanize the driver. And anything else you wanted to impart to him on this ride along?
Well, the thing for me is I wanted a face with what he dealing with, and I wanted him to see that, we want the same thing. We want safety. I want everybody, of course, to make it home. I want safe drivers out there because we're out there working with them day in and day out. And, there's all of our families out there and our friends and stuff. And I think we have the same goal. It's just making it happen. And, it makes me upset when I think about the drivers, that I see that are not doing what they need to be doing and not paying attention. And I know Ron had asked me, what do you do if you see that? I'll call it in. I'll call the law enforcement if I feel like they're unsafe, they're fatigued, driving all over the road or something, because I don't want anything to happen. But I'm very, very thankful that Ron took the time to ride with me, and I'm thankful for my company for sending me up here. To Woodbridge, Virginia. I live in Missouri, so it's been a lot of traveling and stuff and driving in an unfamiliar area, but I hope that Ron was comfortable with me. I know I was very comfortable with him, and I thought that we had a good morning.
Well, you guys, you have to, for better or worse, you kind of have to be the guardians of your own industry in a way, and we hear this from drivers all the time who will call in and say, this guy, he just jumps into his truck in the morning. He didn't do a pre-check. I saw him wake up, and he just hit the road. And maybe you have to call someone or holler on the CB or do something or say, hey, driver, do your pre-check or something. Because for some reason, when one truck driver does something, the whole industry ends up with a black eye, and that doesn't always happen in other fields. I'm not sure why.
In our company, I have to say, I am very, very impressed with the company. With when we bring our trailers in and they unload them, they go to an empty line, or if we bring an empty in, we have mechanics that inbound those trailers. They go through, they hook them up, they check them, they're checking the lights, they're checking the air, checking the brakes, they're checking everything. And then they get loaded again, and then we check them ourselves as we are hooking up the loads to go out. So you've got all these different steps that are being taken on the trailers. The tractors come in, they get fueled, they get, everything gets checked over. So not only is our shop checking it and our fuelers, then we have that responsibility to ourselves and our company and the people on the roads. We're checking our tractors, our trailers. Everything is just getting checked and double-checked and triple-checked. And, I just feel like I am very happy to be working for a company that takes that much pride. That makes me have a lot of pride in what I do, and I just wish that for everybody, that they could have a great company to work for.
And I just wish that all companies were just like that, Carol. That would be
absolutely.
That'd be my wish for all truckers and all families out there, that all companies had those high standards.
Well, this is what we're working for. Ron, what do you take from this? Aside from it seems like it was cathartic for you, but what do you take from this experience back to Citizens for Reliable and Safe Highways? What do you take back to DC with you?
That truck drivers are real people and out just to put food on the table and make a living, and that high standards to avoid crashes are possible and exist for many segments of the trucking industry. So it just reinforces to me that I wish these were all across the board for all companies, and so we could have far fewer tragedies like my family's tragedy.
I'm really glad that Ellen Voya met you, Ron, and convinced you to get onto a truck, and I'm really honored that you joined us today. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing your experiences.
Thank you for having me, Meredith. I appreciate it.
And thank you, Carol. Carol, can you hang on? I would like to talk to you about the Accelerate conference, if you will.
Yes.
We'll come back with more Freewheelin', this Road Dog Trucking News Break, brought to you by Speedco.
All the way down.